Lucas. So everybody's running for Honeyah is here. And then for Chief, well, except Dime. Then for Chief, we have Benjamin who's here, David who's here, Sharkfin. Is Sharkfin here? No. Sharkfin's not here. KitaKiller is not here, but I think KitaKiller's online though. Dime's not here. Logan's here. Artie is not here. Movies here? Nope. Bear. Movies is on Discord or on the Minecraft. Message him if someone on. Pretty sure he was online. 58's here. U2's here. That's at least 50%. Oh, who left?
Movies is not online unless he has a different name than Movies.
He was what? He was just on a moment ago. I wonder again if people are having Discord problems.
I think it probably is.
So I would have somebody who's not running potentially message the people who are not online right now, or people do that.
I think that's actually Jay's.
Maybe Clucky can do that. Clucky can look at the campaign tab, message people. All right, if he's okay with that.
Anyone have like an AFK machine I can go into?
What?
There's one Brittlewood town. No, Brittlewood took it down. That's right. You can jump around Anacostia. People like to jump around there when they think.
I did that too.
I can do it in my own town.
You could run the pathway from coast to coast.
Okay.
All right, I think we better get started because this is taking too long.
Coast to coast.
All right. So alphabetically, it's going to start with U2 because, well, actually, his in-game username is A, but we'll go with that anyway since that's what you guys did. Unless we shouldn't. I don't know. People can just change their usernames to put themselves first or last. We'll do that today. You're all locked in. Don't change your usernames. So, U2, you are going first. So basically, there's just an introduction of who you are and what your potential plans are. If you're okay with that, you get the floor. Everybody, be quiet, or you will be server muted for a little while. It's also recommended if you can't stand Vexera, turn the. And yeah, but I can hear Vexera through someone else's mic, so you might want to get headphones if you can. I don't know. I think it's Benjamin's I hear it through. But everybody, I'd recommend you all muting yourself until it's your turn. But you two, you're up first. So you're probably like, great.
Alright, so I'm going to stay muted until, unless it's my turn to speak because my headphones kind of broke. But I'm on my phone. So, first question.
You just introduce yourself, and then we'll do questions. Everybody's going to introduce themselves, do like a brief introduction of who you are, what you want, why you're running, and what your potential plans are, any like notable things, and then go. Okay. So it can be brief, doesn't need to be long.
All right. Well, I am U23A, or in Discord, Alexander the Great. I kind of left the server for about 2 months, but after coming back to it, I was seeing the huge exponential change in Canada and also the growth. I've also seen a lot of conflict behind the scenes in the government and whatnot. And I noticed a lot of it is to do with a lot of people having the same thoughts on what to do. If we were to elect a group of people with vastly different thoughts, then maybe we could get more stuff done that allows everyone to have a fair chance, even if, one of the people might be crazy, but, But yes, one of my biggest policies is definitely getting people to like Canada, like not forcing them, but just showing them the good side of Canada. And after seeing the New World Order rise up in Georgia and just PI and PWW both falling, I feel as though Canada is coming to stability, but then again, this could be one of the greatest falls in Canada if we don't allow the government to actually get fixed. So one of my biggest things is getting both the members of Canada and the government of Canada stable.
All right. Perfect. Okay, your turn, Benjamin.
There we go. I am Ben Sisko, and I'm running for Honeyah. I've been in this nation for 2 months now, town of America, and basically I'm bringing a lot of experience to this leadership position. Served as one of the top-ranking members in Prestige Imperium, and now I'm doing Canadian Chief. So what I'm going for is a lot of domestic affairs, a lot of infrastructure development, a lot of industrial development, and a lot of cultural development. Quite frankly, Canada is the most developed nation on this server, and probably will be for a very long time. And and my leadership time as leader here would be developing that even further. In regards to the conflicts that you two mentioned, that's just simply a byproduct of the fact that Canada has so much life in it. It's the fact that we have actually tapped into those creative energies for the first time in a good bit. So the conflict is not necessarily the downfall. It does need to be resolved, but it means that Canada has life. It has vivacity to it, and that means Canada will keep going. So thank you, and let's get on with this debate.
Perfect. And also, you might want to tell him your in-game, your in-game username is Doctor Who Knows.
Yeah, I'm Doctor Who Knows, or Benjamin Sisko. Donator
Right.
rank privileges things. So
Perfect. Next up is you, James. Make sure you're muted. In case you. Okay, perfect. Okay, floor's yours.
So, I'm CanadianCrusader. James.
Your volume's low. People might want to turn your volume up. Sorry to interrupt. Okay, continue.
See if I can turn this up. Hold on.
You good, James? Hello? Well, how about we have David go next while we wait for James to figure that out?
Okay. So, hello everyone. I'm David Crocket, in the game. So I'm running for Honeyah and re-election as chief. 4 months ago, I ran for Honeyah in the emergency election, and I was able to come in second place despite being relatively new. I have learned a lot over these 3 months. As a representative and a chief for 3 terms, or 3 elections, I guess. I have learned a lot, and I feel through my experience, I would be very qualified to run for Honeyah. I will discuss further my campaign promises, but I'm just going to keep it brief for now. So, my campaign promises you can check in the chat, but I will restate them. Protect the nation from enemies foreign and domestic. Continue the development of the Department of Interior to give more towns more resources and increase infrastructure. Support the Supreme Court in their job of interpreting the Constitution and sustaining justice within the nation. As a leader, I will be open to hear all Canadians, and I will always fight for the people of Canada. And I will discuss the removal of outposts that threaten our security and develop into better relations with those nations. So, again, I will discuss these promises throughout the debate, and I am always here to serve the people. Thank you.
Perfect. Are you back, James? I wonder if James is even. Can people? Can he hear us? Is he even?
I don't know.
If you can hear us, James, we can't hear you, and I would recommend leaving and coming back.
Oh, he left. So I think he could
So-
hear us, yeah.
Hello?
Word.
James, hello?
James, I suggest you maybe restart your Discord because people are having so many
Restart your
troubles.
computer, because that's like even my Discord, I couldn't get it to work. So we'll have people keep introducing themselves. I would recommend restarting your computer, and we'll just have you go by the time we get through the introductions. Okay. Okay. So you go next, Logan.
Hello, I am Logan, and I am running for the chief and military leader position. I have been in Canada since November 3rd, and I am the mayor of Yorktown. I want to become chief because I will stand up for the Canadian citizens and people who harm, like discriminate against them. And then I can maybe tighten our relationship with Spain to make it better than it is right now, because I am friends with Zappy and some other Spain. Yeah.
Perfect. Is that all you want to say?
I can also keep document of the stuff that happens, so that if anyone ever holds us to our word, I can have document of it, so that no one can ever catch us off guard to make us look like we're liars or anything like that. That's it.
Right. Perfect. Thank you, Logan. Right. Next up is it Doughboy? Are you running Doughboy? I lost.
I don't think he is.
Okay, I don't think so. All right, you're next then, Lucas.
I'm Lucas. I've been chief for 3 terms, and then I, of course, left my final term. Actually, 3.5, maybe. Anyway, I've been in Canada for 4 months, maybe 3.5. And I just want to keep contributing to trying to make this a stable and peaceful place, and not only like the nation on the server, but also the Discord. I feel like some people are debating whether it's a right or not to be in the Discord, but I think we maintain it's a privilege, and I think we need to come together and figure a lot of things out over the next month. And that's it. I think with my leadership, we can get things straightened out. Who's next?
I think it's me.
Yep, Cody, you're next. I forgot to unmute myself. All right, there you go. Floor's yours.
Yeah, so basically I'm running for Honeyah and chief if I don't get if I don't get first place of Honeyah. If I'm voting for Honeyah. Oh, not voting. Running for Honeyah because I really like Canada a lot, and when I've owned I've owned 2 nations before. When I was owning those nations, I missed Canada, and at the same time, I wanted to own my own nation, a nation still. And for chief, it's just like 1/5 of the leadership of Canada, so it's basically just the same.
All right, is that all you want to add?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay, you're next up, Bear.
Oh, crap, I forgot to mute. I'm the Bear 123 I used to own Hudson, now I own Winterhold. I've been in Canada for 6 months, exactly. I feel I want to run for chief and Honeyah, and I want to do it for the people and for what they would like instead of just the government. I feel it's just to have people's voice out there instead of just the government having hidden votes, and it has to be votes between the government for it to be a popular vote. I feel that it should be everyone's vote. And that there should be rights in Canada, such as Discord ones and etc. So, yeah.
Hoku for Kahuna, 2018.
All right, what we do is welcome. This is your first debate. I know what we do is we have everybody is introducing themselves at the moment, and we have everybody typically mute themselves. If you have a question that you'd like to ask, message me, and then we'll fit you in. So when we have the questions come up. So we just typically have everybody mute themselves. So we're just going through the introduction. So are you done, Bear? You good?
All right. My
Oh
name?
no, well, are you running? Well, you're not running for office. You don't need to introduce yourself unless you're running for. Are you running for office?
Running for office.
You are.
I'm running for chief if I can.
All right. Yep. Well, then you alphabetically will be last. Actually, if you look on, we're going by the Discord. So.
Okay.
Yep. Just mute yourself, and we'll get down to you. You can introduce yourself. So can you, Sharkfin. And next up is actually 58. So 58, introduce yourself, and then we'll, after everyone's introduced, we'll start the questions. So your turn, 58.
Oh, all right. I'm Rosie 58. I'm running for chief after having a month break from being in the government when I was your leader. Just want to help see our community grow and that's all for right now.
All right. Perfect. Short and sweet. All right. Next up is Sharkfin. So Sharkfin, do you want to use the voice chat system, or are you going to type things out? Because we can have someone read them. Ideally, it'd be nice for people to hear your voice. You typically will do better, voting wise. But if you want to introduce yourself, you can just send me a message, and you can do that. We'll probably have Torx introduce himself then. So, you do you. All right. I'll let Torx, you introduce yourself then. For next then.
All right. My name is Hoku. I am the Kahuna of Hawaii, applying to become of Canada. I think I'm a very capable fighter, a great advocate for the nation. I wish to protect our people, grow and prosper. If you elect me as chief, I'll try to do all of those things and more. Just let me know. Thank you for your time.
Perfect.
Aloha.
Oh. I like the twist. So what you can do, Sharkfin, is you can use the politics chat so people can see what you're writing, and it will stay there. So you got that going for you. And yeah, with that being said, we can start the questions. Now we're going to do things a bit differently this time. We're going to have a timer. Nothing that like you're going to have to worry about too much. You can go over a little bit. But what we have is, because we have so many people now, we can't we got to keep things a bit organized, otherwise things go too long. So there will be a 2-minute timer on questions. You can get through it typically before then. Most people won't even need that, but the 2-minute timer is just so that way we can get things moving along, because we had our last debate was 4 hours, guys. 4 hours. 4 hours, people. How many questions we got through? 10? Can't do that.
Yeah. Find out some
So 2 minutes, we can get more questions in, and then if we need to expand on points, there'll be a dialogue or a dialectic, shall we, at the end. So if you have a question you'd like to have asked throughout the thing, you can private message me, and they'll be shuffled in.
Will there be like a since you said there's 10 questions, right?
No,
Will
there's
there
more
be
than
like
that. Just last debate we only managed to get almost 10 because it took so long.
You 238. You 238. We love you.
We're having our debate. We're having our debate, Killer.
Huh?
Seriously, Killer?
I muted him.
Bring
Yeah,
it here,
boob.
or whatever. That's fine.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's
Can
fine.
you hear me?
That'll do.
Okay, so that was him not probably forgetting we were doing our debate today. So okay. That being said, we can start the questions. You two will go first, and after this, then they will be cycled through. And you two will then go last. Benjamin will go first, and then that's how we'll do that. So I have my timer. Again, you can go a little over. It doesn't matter. It's just kind of like wrap things up type thing. Okay, so 2 minutes. First question is everyone, if everyone's ready? Sharkfin, have you been able to get your post out with me? Okay, there's Sharkfin's introduction. Sharkfin says, I'm Sharkfin. I am running for chief. Canada is going through a time of change, and during times of change, we need unity and a strong foundation. I plan to offer both of these things and help Canada prosper well into 2018. Perfect. Short and sweet. So because Sharkfin is writing, Sharkfin will always be going last. So when you get the question, Sharkfin, that gives you time to think about it and write it out.
Stop. Go away.
Okay. So first question is, there have been talks about changing the government, and the government itself. What are your thoughts? What needs change? What is working? And where do you want to where do you want to go in the future? So, you two, you go first. If you like things, if you want to change things, what are your thoughts?
To be honest, since I've just gotten back, I've only seen what's recently happened, but I can tell by listening to people talk in private that the Supreme Court was kind of a very iffy decision to add in. But then again, I also want to mainly serve the people and not my personal preferences. So, going by what the people have said, I think the Supreme Court can change a little, not completely take it out, because I can see some benefit in having it. And also, I think the chancellorships and the chiefs and the Honeyahs are working pretty good. So, I don't think we need to change that. Although I also heard of people wanting an absolute monarchy, which has some of its benefits, but personally, I don't think the benefits would outweigh the cons. So, unless a lot of people want that change, I do not support a absolute monarchy. However, though, the political parties, which has been a huge deal recently, I say I'll take a little bit from David. We shouldn't necessarily have our campaigners based on political parties, but we should, recognize them. And also, political parties, not really for them, but if people want them, then I will support them if that's their way of expressing themselves. I'm finished.
It's like dead in here. Hello?
I believe there are some technical difficulties.
I think that it's the doctor who knows his turn.
All right, Dayzle, I'm ready to go if you're ready to reset the timer. Dayzle?
I think Dayzle might be having issues.
Is he okay?
I think Dayzle
Dayzle?
might be having issues.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'll pull up a timer for you.
Yeah, we can continue. He'll probably be back by the time. Yep.
And there he goes.
Well, he's gone.
All right.
Well,
The debates of the technical difficulties. All right. All right, David, you got a timer?
I can pull one.
Okay. I'll be the moderator.
You got it? All right.
How?
So,
Wait.
go ahead.
Okay, so what is your stance on the districts that people have been talking about?
We gotta go with the same
No,
question.
we're going with the same question.
Okay, wait, what was the same question again?
I think Dayzle's back, so he can.
Dayzle, can you hear us?
Yep, my computer force shut down. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so Benjamin, did you go or did
No.
you wait for me? Okay.
Waiting for you.
All right, so need me to ask the question again, or are you good?
Please do ask the question again.
All right, so there's been talks about changing the government. What do you like? What do you not? Or what do you think could use improvement? And what are your thoughts over the current state of the government?
Well, I'm not sure if you all saw all the stuff I've been doing in the general chats and stuff, but I've been debating a lot about this. And it seems there's two kind of directions that people are going. One is the very highly representative direction, and the other is the monarchist direction. So it's interesting in that regard because that means that what we have right now is somewhat kind of in the middle. Centrism isn't necessarily the answer to it, but it means that we may be near a balance point. But with that said, there are legitimate sides on both. I find that the way we have the chief set up, where it's consistent representation for everyone, that's completely fine. I also find that the fact we have elections, we have that change going through it, that's good. The stability of this nation doesn't come from its political structure, like it would Spain or something like that. It comes from its social structure. We all hold to the same values. That's where our stability comes from. That allows us to have a lot of changes of power. So in my opinion, yeah, the government could be a little bit more proactive. It could take actions that like term limits to keep new people coming through, keep fresh ideas coming through. But other than that, I honestly find it's working okay.
All right.
And just to end it, I mean, I'm open to suggestions. Make a good case for it. I'll listen. That's all I got.
All right, perfect. Okay, so you are next. Let me go back. Hold on, I got people talking to me. Oh, Blast Angel. Hey, Blast Angel. So David, you are next. So
Okay.
did James not come back?
I don't think so.
All right. So okay then, David, you are good to go next.
Okay.
Do you
So
need me to ask again? Sorry.
no,
Are you good?
I mean,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, okay. So, I personally am quite content with the way the government has been operating as of late. But ultimately, that is not what matters in this situation. As an elective representative, what matters is the people's stance on the government. And it seems that people have many concerns with the government. I believe that these concerns are coming out of a place of possible, they're not sure how our government operates, and that they compare us to other things. So I believe that we need to better educate and have a better open discussion with our citizens over how the government should operate or does operate. And then we can go from there how they think it should operate. To touch on a few things, I can understand people's discontent with certain things like the Supreme Court and well, the Supreme Court itself was made to preserve justice within the country. So again, we need people to voice concerns and show their opinions so we can make better decisions. I mean, that's really all I have.
Perfect. Under 2 minutes, everyone's been doing good. All right, Logan, you are next. Do you need me to ask the question again, or are you good?
I'm fine.
Okay.
So where Canada is right now, I'm perfectly fine with it because if the government changes, we might not be able to get back to the old government that we have because of people leaving because they don't like the government. So we might, if anyone does want it back, we might not get it to the certain point that it is right now. So I don't want any change in government, and yeah, that's it.
All right. Perfect. Okay, so you are next, Lucas.
Lucas!
You are good to go.
Lucas!
If he's there, you're muted. In case you didn't know. Hello, Lucas.
Earth to
You
Lucas.
scared him away, Torx. Way to go.
He said
He
hold
might.
on, I think he's doing something.
Oh, he's probably crying. Just kidding. All right. Okay. So then what we'll do is if he's not here, we'll pass the question on to Cody. So make sure everyone's quiet. And Cody, do you need me to ask the question again, or are you good?
No.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, as in like are you gonna reply to the question? Or oh, okay, Lucas is here. Okay, well we'll do that then. All right, so Lucas, do you need me to ask the question again?
Yeah.
All right, there's been talks about changing the government. What do you like? What do you not like? And what kind of changes would you, or what kind of things would you like to see under your administration?
When I first joined Canada, it was Chiefs and then Honeyah, and I kind of missed that, and I feel like I kind of helped create more, which kind of a mistake on my part. But now, some people do want to keep it the way it is. Some people want to change it back or want to add more. I'm open to what people want. I have a few other ideas of maybe more branches, maybe like a union of towns, like either a senate or just like a gathering, like not every town has to commit to, or like has to have a word in, but like an opportunity for them to voice their opinions on things and maybe have a vote or something. But I think if people wanted to come together and help me create more or better things than what we have now, be nice for our country. That's pretty much it.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay. So, you are next, Cody. Can you reply to the question, or do you need me to re-ask it, or?
No, you don't.
All right. So you're gonna reply?
No, I don't really have anything to say about it.
Okay. Well, you reserve that right. Okay, then, Bear, you're next. So you need me to ask the question again, or would you like me to? Oh, make sure you're muted, Bear.
Oh, I thought he went. Or was going.
Yeah.
Yes, could you please re-ask the question?
Yep. So there's been some talks about changing the government. What do you like? What do you think needs improvement, and what do you see being done under your leadership?
All right. So, don't mind me.
No, you're good.
I think there needs to be some changes, like maybe have terms, maybe, and also maybe Supreme Justice to. I think we should keep it to our old roots, to where we had 3 chiefs and a Hoyana, and it worked last time. When we hit 5, it didn't seem like that we needed those 2 extra people. I feel like they're just extra and they're not really needed because we just have too many extra people, I feel like. And I feel that we should maybe organize it more, maybe just go inside, get what they can do, like what permissions they can do, what rights they have as the government, what they can do and say to the people. And I would also like to say that there shouldn't be like government votes. I feel like there should be just people votes instead of hiding government votes. I feel like there should be people votes. So then the government, like as a chief, they have a voice and they can say it instead of it has to go to a vote for the people to make a popular vote.
All right. That's about 2 minutes. So you good?
Yep.
All right. Perfect. Okay, then. So 58, you're next. Do you need me to ask the question again, or are you?
Extremely triggered, yes.
All right. Floor is yours.
All right, so I think the government is fine how it is. I know that I was the one that gave the okay to get 5 chiefs because I felt like the people needed more representation. The people that want to narrow it back down to 3 are trying to limit the people's say. And what there is, we made the 2 people, so we added 2 people so that the people would have more say in who you wanted into the government. And with the Supreme Court, I think it does need a bit of work, saying what they can and can't do. I think that's all for this question.
Dayzle's mic is muted.
Dayzle? Your mic's muted.
Good call. So, right. So, Torx, you are next. If you'd like me to ask the question again, or you would like me, or you can just go.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, nope, don't mind at all. It's my jib. Okay, so there's been talk about changing the government. What do you like? What do you see needs improvement? And what do you see being done under your leadership?
I'm new to the nation. I've only been in Canada for 3 days. So far, I don't know how the government works. Most disputes are resolved with diplomacy and reasoning. So, change is removing some of the allies that we have, as some pose a threat to our nation. I know and understand we're not warmongers, but it's really frustrating when people invade other people's towns and you're unable to fight them. I'd like to change that, as well as offer protection to all of our people. I have about 4 sets of God tier armor. There's not really much I would change about the government itself, though. I think everyone's very friendly. There's not many rules to be followed. I'd like to help everyone out too, in some way, somehow. Not gold. Don't say you want gold, because I'm not going to give you any gold. But, yeah. I'd like to establish Canada as a strong, if it's not already.
Okay, that's been about 2 minutes. So perfect. Yeah, are you good then?
I'm good.
All right, perfect then. Okay, so now we have shark fins, and then we move on to the first question that we got by the public, which was, I think I'll keep them anonymous unless they request, just because I don't want people to feel like uncomfortable with anything. So, okay, what was Sharkfin? So Sharkfin says the Supreme Court has its place. If the people want to modify, we can make changes the people desire. A monarchy is stable. However, there are more negatives that come with a monarchy than positives. As people start to question the government's transparency, as people start to question the government transparency is important. The people also need to be encouraged to learn about our politics so that misconceptions can be avoided. Alrighty. So, so the first one up was the first question that we got, and it's someone that's messaging me. It's not them. Sorry, they know who they are though. But all right. The first question that we got was, will you well, let me read it for verbatim. I should probably I get a lot of people messaging me. Sorry. The first one was political parties. So this is should we be making political parties? That's the question. I imagine there's a bit more like a philosophical aspect to it. It's not like, is it like, should we have to? It's more like, or should we be doing that right now? It's more like a, should we in general? So the first person will be Benjamin. You two, you go last. That's quite a wait, I imagine, but maybe some time to think about it and get some other people's opinions. So Benjamin, should we be making political parties? The floor is yours.
Well, I'm sure that you all have heard my take on political parties, in that it is inherently divisive. They are not a part of this party because they do not support our platform. That is a very artificial division, and my time in this nation has told me that our strength comes from a unified community. Why would we want to artificially destroy that? I mean, I'm not against it. Well, I am against it, but I'm not against your right to do it. I'm just confused as to why you would want to do it. Show me why. Just show me why this is a good idea. What benefit does this bring? I feel like this could be just kind of a knee-jerk reaction almost that wasn't necessarily thought out. If it was, please tell me. Just show me why this is a good idea. So, TLDR, I'm against political parties, but if you can show me they're a good idea, I will listen.
All right. Perfect. Okay, your turn, David.
Okay. So I have also been quite open on my stance on political parties, but in my personal opinion, no, we should not be making political parties. Political parties create an us and them dynamic. It's a matter of fact that parties divide. You can see it in the real world in many nations, and you can see it here as well. Parties will become necessary and prioritize their own beliefs over the nation. Parties force people to conform and choose sides. We have already seen this in a day of political parties being made. As soon as I joined the Canadian political party and began to voice my opinion, I was completely shut out. I was told to leave, and I was threatened to be kicked out. It is imperative that we do something about this. This is a major concern, and I will do something about this. That is all.
Perfect. Okay, next up is you, Logan. So, floor's yours.
My stand on political parties are I don't like them, but I do have a political party, but it's not like an actual party because it has all the ideologies of both of the standing parties. So it's basically just a citizen political party, so like a normal one. And I feel like what David said, that they're dividing and they shouldn't exist. That's it.
All right, perfect. You guys are really keeping this short and sweet. I like it. Okay, so Lucas, you are next.
I'm in favor of political parties. Personally, I'm not sure what I think about them right now, but I think that if people want them, then we can use them, or we should be allowed to have them. As long as it's as the people are ruling the parties and not the parties ruling the people, then we'll be fine. And as long as I think as long as we keep parties out of the main Discord, we'll be fine. Also, like as long as we keep as long as the parties have their own Discord, and then we'll be fine. That's pretty much it. But yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay, your turn, Cody. Do you have something you would like to add? Do you know? Want me to repeat the question?
No.
All right, so you're good?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Bear, political parties. You get the floor.
Okay. For political parties, I believe that people should have the right to make one, and the government shouldn't tell us that's not right. Even though it may not be, you can't just say, oh, it's not right, because then that will influence them to say, oh, I'm not going to make one. You shouldn't be able to do that. You should be able to allow them to believe that they can and what they want, instead of demanding them or telling them stuff that is your opinion, that is going to influence them to not want to make one because what you believe is wrong. And I feel that people should have the right to make one.
All right, you good?
Yep.
All right. I will say for the record, no one has said that you don't have the right to make a party. Just people discourage associating yourself with a party. So that's just for the record. But nobody has at all at any point said that you do not have a right to be part of a party. So, but you do like. But just,
someone did.
all right. Well, if they did, then no one has said it thus far. Who's running?
All right.
Okay. Not you. That's not going after you. Other people have said it. So I just want to make sure that's for the record. So, all right. If you would like to say anything else, you can, because I said that record. Or if you're good, you're good. You good there?
I'm gonna go
Okay.
ahead and
Sorry.
the debate.
Oh,
If you wanna
pardon?
go ahead. The debate. I don't know much about Canada, so probably just don't vote for me. and y'all enjoy the debate. I don't know much about it. I don't have very much to contribute.
You might want to look into the military position and talk to people in the military position. I think that would be up your alley at the moment.
It really would be.
If you want to run for that, you can, and if you want to talk to whoever gets elected, you can, because there are auxiliary positions, which just basically means positions used to help the military around. So, all right, yeah. Well,
I'll do that.
thanks for being
Y'all have
here.
a good night.
All right, take care. Okay, then. So, 58, you are next. Political parties. Should we have them?
Oh, political parties. I think be all right if we had them, but not base them off of real world things. I think we should just make up something in game. But if you're trying to make it more like the real world, you bring in all these ideas, and politics in general just starts massive arguments with people. I have, off of what David said, I also have 30 plus screenshots of parties not working so far in one day. If you want to see them, I will post them all into photos. I think that we should, if you really want a party, make up some goofy party. Don't base it off of a real world party, because it's a game, not the real world. Thank you.
All right, perfect. So, from there, Sharkfin says, political parties. Should we make them? ? No. Political parties are something that will only divide the nation. The whole Canadian population cannot be united under one party. They will always be split between at least two parties. Some people in Canada like to look at the real world for examples. Looking at the real world can't you see the political parties divide? People, all right, Canada is having like a stroke. Sorry. Canada is strong, united, and weak, divided. Political parties are not what we need right now. If people want them, however, I will not stop them as forcibly silence them. Forcibly silence them would be against their rights. But if you want Canadian politics to be more like the real world, you bring in the real world problems. That's a good point. All right. So Sharkfin stuff's there in the politics chat for anybody who wants to see it for themselves. Okay. So next up will be another public question, because we have a lot that's going on. So let's see. So one of the major questions was, Lucas, and you two. Oh right, yeah, we have a bunch of people you have to add in. Lucas, did you even get to? You commented. You two is next.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
talked.
goodness. People are messaging me. I have like 1 million people messaging me. Okay, so you two, are you still there?
Yes.
All right. All right. Political parties. Go
All
ahead.
right. I
Sorry,
will be
Torch.
honest.
There you go. Sorry.
Okay. I will admit political parties in America and a few other places in the real world are kind of a problem, because they basically indoctrinate you into their policies. If you don't agree with them, you're not, a real Republican or whatever. In a game like Minecraft, where we're role playing as a nation and whatnot, I personally do not agree with them, but then again, I will support your rights in every way to have one. Because I do believe it kind of suppresses your speech if you are not allowed to be in a party. But then again, having the party control what you think and what you do, that is what I do not agree with at all. Like, for example, if you're in the Canadian Republican Party and you're saying, I don't know, I'm not sure what's going on in there, but for example, if people are saying, let's distribute free gold to every single town, and if that used to be someone's personal opinion, then yes, it would be okay. But if you are forced to say, oh yes, every single town should get free gold under no free will at all, then no, they should not be allowed at all. But like I said, if Canada is a representative direct government, then yes, I do believe we should have parties. Will there be consequences? Maybe. But then again, it is a citizen's right to do so. And that's for me.
Alrighty. So with that, then we move on to the next question submitted by someone in the public. So this person submitted a few of them. It's a lot to go after, but one of the major questions was a person who submitted question. I would advise picking one that you want the most. Do you have them in order? You know who you are. You submitted 5 separate questions. Since you said it's okay to say your name, DJ. So do you have, like, just because it's a lot to ask, and that way I want to filter in different people. Okay, so DJ's question that they want to prioritize is, how will you increase the amount of gold for Canadian citizens? So that is the one that they wanted to ask. So floor goes to David first. How would you like to answer that? Go.
Well, I had a good discussion with DJ earlier about this, but I'm willing to also talk about it here. So there are things that I want to utilize if I were Hoyana or Chief in my next term. Things such as the Department of Interior are very valuable tools that will be able to distribute resources easily to people. So some things that I think that should happen with the Department of Interior is increased infrastructure, and I believe that increased industry is also very vital to our country. So let me just get into this really quick. So I think we should have public spawners and other public resources available to all towns so that they can have resources. Gold is difficult, but mob spawners can offer armor if the mobs spawn with it. So it is possible we can get gold and try and salvage gold from the armor. And again, I will try and do everything I can with the Department of Interior to increase infrastructure and give resources and gold to people. I think the giving economy is a very vital part of our country, and I feel as though that it has been lacking very recently, and I feel as though it needs to be revived. So, if Hoyena, I will support the Department of Interior in any infrastructure initiatives, and will do everything I can to give small towns or new towns
2 minutes.
resources that they need. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So next up is you, Logan. Make sure you're muted.
Okay.
All right, perfect.
So, me and myself, I don't have gold. So, what my thing is, I would just vote every day, save up your gold until you actually need it, and ask around if anyone has no gold that they do not need. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay then. So next up is Lucas.
Okay. I believe in the Treasury giving gold when it's needed and giving out loans. But other than that, I think towns are responsible for their own gold. If in some situations, if towns really are desperate and they need it, then possibly loans. But recently, my town has been starting its own farms underground with creeper spawners, cow spawners, and other various farms and spawners. And we've started to have an increase in our gold, which first time in a long time. But we weren't handed anything. We created it ourselves. other than that, we've just received loans for land claiming. But I think each town is responsible for itself. I mean, the government's there to help them, but in the end, it's them. That's it.
All right. Perfect. Okay, then. So next up is you, Cody. Would you like to add anything, or are you good?
So what was like
Um,
anything we do as Hyena?
Yeah, most of these questions still apply to Hyena if you didn't.
So basically, if I was Hyena, if I am going to be Hyena, I'll basically I'll help as many people as I can in the nation, and I'll just try to be as nice as I can to as many people as possible and the new people and all that. Yeah, I'm done.
All right. Perfect. Okay, then. Next up is you, Bear. Make sure you're unmuted.
Alright, is it me?
Yep, your turn.
Okay.
Need the question, or you good?
Could you please restate the question?
Yeah, the question is. All right, let me get back to chat. Okay, how will you increase the amount of gold for Canadian citizens?
I feel like we shouldn't take gold from people or like
Okay, bye.
get gold from them or control the gold. I don't think we should do that. I feel that if maybe donations is allowed, maybe we can say, hey, well, donations allowed. Here's a donation box, maybe, or something. I would also maybe voting would support voting to get gold, maybe a big supply. And I feel like if we start mining in our land to get it all for ourselves for Canada instead of another country. And I feel maybe the given economy could help with the donations for gold, maybe. And maybe a shop in the spawn to gain gold for the country or the nation. So yeah.
All right. Perfect. You good with that?
Yep.
All right. So it seems that 58 has left. So you might want to mute yourself, Bear. Sorry.
Whoops.
Yeah, no worries. And then we're just waiting on Sharkfin. Sharkfin's probably getting really stressed because they're like, oh no. And it should be added, if anybody would like to clarify anything, you can use the political or politics chat as well.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll move on to you two and Benjamin. So, you two, would you like to go at this?
Yes.
Sorry, did you have something you wanted to immediately say, David? You kind of
No,
chimed in.
okay.
Oh, okay. So you two, all yours. You need the question repeated, or you good?
It's about gold for Canadian citizens, correct?
Yep, increasing. Yep. Right.
Okay. What I think we can do is the giving economy is definitely a vital core aspect for Canada in general. However, increasing gold for towns in general and people. Personally, if you're just making a town just to play around and not actually build up a humongous town kind of like Kingston, I would kind of go for space efficiency, so you wouldn't have to use all that gold for expansion. But if you have a medieval type town or whatever, then I would definitely recommend voting every day. And if you for some reason still need a little bit more than that, then yeah, I would say we can set up shops for other nations to buy from. But in Canada itself, the Treasury can help as well with loans and whatnot. And yeah, just given the economy being selfless and, all that Canadian maple syrup stuff.
All right. You good? All right, perfect. Okay. So Benjamin, you're next, then 58, then Sharkfin. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So
Now, I actually had a very good discussion about this with Killer the other day. And he said that gold is more utilitarian than spawners. However, at the same time, we can also use these spawners to sell products to get gold. So over time, they would pay back for themselves. So industrialization, I honestly think, is the key to getting more the Canadian economy. I also am of the opinion that a major part of the villagers. I've built villager breeders before. I could do so again in the capital. Just have to talk with Georgia about getting a farm villager and a couple other villagers to spare. So I am strongly in favor of industrialization and making sure Canadians can mass produce whatever is needed. And I honestly do think that is how we will make our gold.
Perfect. Okay, you 58. Would you like me to ask you the question?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the question is, how will you increase the amount of gold for Canadian citizens?
First off, you need to start with public spawners and maybe teach people how to up their MCMMO skills. Like salvage is a good one if you got a zombie and skeleton spawner, then you can just combine all the gold armor that you get and salvage that for more gold. You could sell products. If you get gold ore, and if you have a high smelting skill, that's a double chance of getting gold and smelting, which I use a lot. Probably more trading between inside our nation instead of with outside nations. Like buying stuff from inside nations and maybe selling to outside as well. But don't go buying products from like Jing or something. If somebody in our nation has it, then why not buy from them?
All right. You good with that?
Yep.
All right. Perfect. And now Sharkfin's response, and then I will clarify two things: what the giving economy is for people who don't know, and how we typically do loans for content. But Sharkfin says, if I can not have a stroke this time while I read it and sound like I'm having problems. Okay. From personal experience, the server seems to lack ores. Mining is not usually very rewarding. Further infrastructure can be implemented, such as spawners, but the giving economy also needs to be reinvigorated. Voting is also a great way to earn gold. Canada is industrializing. We can take advantage of that and sell to other nations and other people. The nation should not have to pay citizens, as that would take away from the strength of the nation. The morale is buy Canadian wherever possible. Perfect. And for context, the giving economy is where we help people who need resources, especially new people with their towns. Instead of making them buy things, we give them the amount of resource that they need in order to be able to develop. One of the greatest success stories of this would be Kingston, which was a town that was built on needing things, and it got to a point where it was so big that it could then help other people. So that's the idea of the giving economy, is you are helped and then one day you pay it forward. And then loans, traditionally someone mentioned loans. Loans in Canada typically don't have interest. You pay them back. Some people do private loans, but that's another thing. Okay, David, did you have something you want to say?
Yeah, just a point of clarification. The giving economy is not forced. Some people have compared it to socialism, but Dayzle, you've compared it to more libertarian, where people are not obligated but rather encouraged to give things, and it's against their it's voluntary. So, just
it's a weird hybrid between socialism and libertarianism, because it's a social policy where you help everybody, but it's completely optional, but people take part in it, and it's quite effective. Okay, so next question. All right, so we've gone through everybody who asked one. There's a person who asked a few. We'll get back to some of those. Kind of get back to the main drive of things. Hopefully, maybe another hour. This we can call it good. Okay, so next big thing is an anonymous. Actually, this isn't a question I have, but it was also an anonymous question. So this works out. If you do not win, will you be willing to be okay with that and even step down from office? Not just now, but in the future. The transition of power is very important to people, and that practice has been brought into question. So, summarize. How will you act if you do not get elected into office? And if you are elected in, would you be okay with not or giving up that position in the future, maintaining our current system? That's a lot. Sorry. There's just a few things being added in that to not have to ask like 2 separate questions. So, one last time, simplified. What will you be doing when you do not, if you do not get elected? Okay, because that's a possibility. Some of you guys are not going to get elected. And the next thing is how do you feel about the transition of power and maintaining that? There you go. So, first up is actually Logan. So, there you go. You might want to mute yourself if you didn't. Sorry. Logan? Hello?
What? Hello. Can you restate the question?
Okay. How do you feel, or correct, what will you be doing if you do not potentially get elected into office? Okay. And how do you feel, quickly, and it's a two-parter. And how do you feel about the transition of power in Canada and maintaining it? So what will you be doing if you don't get elected? How do you feel about maintaining the transition of power? Okay, there you go.
If I do not get elected into power, I wouldn't be that angry because I love it here in Canada. It's better than anything else. But yeah, I would stay in Canada and just do what I'm normally doing when I'm not in power and then run again next election.
I'll be back, guys.
And then I like the transition of power. Like, I'm fine with it because it's good. And yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay, Lucas, you are next. So hold on, let me
I'd probably stay in my town and I don't know, build more buildings. I've been in the government for a while now, so I'd probably, if I didn't win, I'd probably take a nice little break. That's it.
All right. Okay, Cody, how what would you like me to ask the question again? Would you like to comment on it?
What?
The question. What would you be doing if you did not win? And how do you feel about maintaining the transition of power?
You mean if I didn't win Hoyana?
Yeah, or any like position.
I'd probably just I'd probably be like I just do my normal day stuff because I want to be Hoyana in that, but if I don't get it, I'm fine with that. I would be fine if I didn't get picked for Hoyana or any position.
Is that all you'd like to add?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, perfect. All right, Bear, your turn. So, would you like me to ask one more time, or?
Yes, please.
Okay, so what will you be doing if you do not win? And how do you feel about maintaining that transition of power in Canada? Like people leaving their position. Go.
Oops, I muted myself. You were lagging a little bit.
How do you feel about what will you be doing if you do not win office? And how do you feel about the transition of power in Canada, maintaining that? It's a two-parter. Would you like me to ask them one by one?
Yeah, it's really
okay. Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, I've noticed that. So if anybody would like to try that again. So yeah, first question is how would you behave, or what will you be doing if you do not get elected into a position at all?
Will I be doing an election at all? Is that what you said?
Yeah, like what
My bad
what
for
would
my
you
connection.
what would you be doing if you did not get elected into position of power? First part.
I would think what I would be doing is help the Hoyana if they need anything. Maybe listen to Hoyana, see what beliefs they have and what they see Canada for the future. I would also listen to the people also in Canada to see what they want as the government, and maybe help them work on the government, maybe like make it a little bit better. So, yeah, better.
All right. And for this, you want me to ask the second part?
Yeah.
And how do you feel about maintaining the transition to power, stepping down from office?
How do I feel the
Things like that.
position?
Yeah, like maintaining that. And...
The position for chief
in general.
in general.
Yeah, for all of the positions and stuff.
I feel like some of them, they don't really. One has more power, which is normal. But having 5 chiefs to have the same power as the Hoyana is a lot of people. And I feel like the people in Canada should also have power instead of just the government. I feel the people in Canada should have power in the government. And it shouldn't just be the government that has shouldn't be just the government that has the most power. It should also be.
All right, you good?
Yep.
All right, perfect. Okay, then so 58, your turn. Would you like me to ask it in 2 separate parts? And people who've gone before, if you'd
Yes,
like
please.
a second shot, let me know. Okay, so 2-parter. Okay, so first part is, let me start my timer. Okay, once you get ready. So first part of the question is, what would you be doing if you do not get elected into office?
Oh, I will continue to help the Canadian community and continue to help build towns. And if the current government wants, I'll maintain my Supreme Court justice status.
And for the second part?
What was the second part?
And the second part is, how do you feel about the transition of power, people coming, leaving their positions, and stuff like that we currently have?
The current transition of power so far, I've seen that it works quite well. Nothing much really needs to change, because if a chief doesn't want to step down, then the Honeyah can just remove his perms that easy. Because the Honeyah can do a lot with Townie. And to go on a point that Bear brought up, is that we have the election, so then the people don't have to constantly be doing votes, so they don't get annoyed with them. That's why we have the chiefs, is so that the people don't have to constantly be discussing foreign issues and everything. And when important things do come up, majority of the time we put it up to the people of Canada at that time. And I have to go, so some personal issues came up.
All
I
right.
didn't
Well,
know about.
I hope those get resolved, and thanks for being part of the debate, 58.
Yeah.
All
Bye,
right.
guys.
All right. Take care.
Yep.
Okay. So, next is I'll reach. I've been reading Sharfade in order, but I really should be doing that last. So, you two, you are next. So, so I can ask you them in separate increments. That's probably easiest, because I think it's overwhelming people that have that whole thing at once. So,
Yeah.
First things first is, what will you be doing if you don't win a position? What are your plans?
What will I do if I don't get a position? Well, since I just got back to server, and then after that, I can just help with whatever investments need to be done for the government structure, or I don't know, war costs or something. I will try and help with that. But other than government stuff and whatnot, I'll just be playing around and trying to help the community to the best of my ability, even though I'm silly busy. But yeah, just average player stuff.
All right. And for the second part, how do you feel about the system of transitioning power in Canada and people?
I think it's pretty good. It gives new and veteran players an experience to see how the gears of Canada work, whether they need to be replaced or maybe they can go a few more terms. However, there are a few little concerns I have, like us electing possibly an insane Honeyah, but then again, the citizens are really keeping that in check, so I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But yeah, I do agree with it, and I think it's a good thing for the nation.
All right, perfect. Okay, Benjamin, you get the floor.
All right, repeat the question real quick.
Okay, so first part of the question is, what would you be doing with your time if you do not get elected into a position of power?
Well, first question to answer that, I would honestly be developing infrastructure and be developing industry. It'd probably be on the town level. I can be national level.
Oh, your mic's breaking up. You might want to
Oh, it is?
restart a little bit. The town level is where it can start, right?
Yep. Well, if I wasn't elected, I would either be, well, I would be doing more industrialization.
Breaking up. You'd be doing more industrialization. Okay, sorry.
Yep. Is it breaking up that bad?
It's a little bit, but it seems like it's okay now, so continue. I'll mark that off.
So I'd be doing either of those things. I can do those on in an elected position, but I'd be doing it on a very regional scale. I'd also just honestly be available. Just I do have a lot of experience. If someone wants to come talk, I could definitely relate that.
All right. And for the second part, how do you feel about the transition of power in Canada and that system?
That is one of the core elements of why Canada is different. The fact that we can legally, efficiently, and regularly transfer power. It means that we have fresh ideas coming in. It means that everyone gets invested. It means that the chances of bad decisions are actually minimized or wrong paths. In the case of a monarchy like Spain, the leader decides something, he has to live with those consequences, and the nation has to live with this forever. In the case of something like Canada, we simply can get around those by electing a new leader. We'll deal with some of the consequences, sure, but we can learn from that. We can adjust that. We can change that, and we can change it very easily. Your power is dependent on your performance, unlike a monarchy. So, TLDR, the transition of power, it's working, and it's so foundational to why Canada works.
Perfect. 2 minutes exactly. Well done. Impressive. Okay, so James, you are welcome to chime in on this question, and then you can do a brief introduction because you didn't get that opportunity. So you say your mic doesn't work, so you can type out your responses. So I would recommend doing that in the politics chat. The question is, what would you be doing with your time if you don't get elected into a position of power? And the second part of that would be, oh, someone joined. How do you feel about the transition of power in that system in Canada? So next up is David. Floor is yours. Make sure you're muted. Okay, perfect.
Okay. So to answer the first part of the question of what I stepped down, of course, I believe in the democracy, and I would not try and go against that. As for what I would be doing, I would probably be doing my part as a regular citizen again. Like Doc said, I would very similarly probably be working on public projects and infrastructure and try and do my part as a Canadian citizen. How do I feel about maintaining the transition of power? Well, I actually have, I'm quite passionate about this. In my time in office, I've learned quite a deeper meaning of democracy. We have been the biggest nation on the server to ever exist. I have a great respect for our nation's transition of power, and if anyone were to defy that, I would be deeply against it. Our democracy is sacred, and if anyone were to defy our democracy and try and destroy it, that could lead to the destruction of our nation. So that's why I think it's very important, and I think it is to be preserved. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I'll read Sharkfin, and James, you are up next. After that, if it's taking too long, don't panic. We can get to it when you get it posted because you just jumped in. So Sharkfin says, the transition to power is a must. Fresh perspectives are constantly needed. If the role was constant, people. Okay, sorry, it's moving. If the role was constant, people would tire and take advantage of their position. The current transition is fine. It seems to work well. I do not win. If I do not win, I do not mind, as it was your decision to not have me. This and that and not having a mic is a setback, especially for me because I'm having a stroke here. I'm so tired. Sorry, guys. That said, I will just return to work at my paper and strengthen the Blockbuster brand while still trying to keep the Canadian community growing. Okay, you guys are talking and pushing the chat up, so I'm dyslexic enough right at the moment. So, anyway, okay, and so James says, I would be continuing my duties as a playwright, farmer, soldier, and airport builder, regardless of whether or not I get elected. However, I would disband my newspaper as it would seem to be useless. The change in power in Canada is a good system, mainly because if you have one person holding on to power, they can do whatever they want. But with the transition of power, we know that nobody is absolutely powerful. Said. Okay, so Cody has a question right there, and then we'll get back to DJ's questions. What if people were from Canada, turned against us, left and tried to enemy us? It's happened. So how, what do you want? Are you asking what should we do with people who turn against us and leave and enemy us? Okay. That's a good question. It happens once in a while. How do we deal with people who join and then leave crazy on us? What is your position on the matter? So, Lucas.
Oh wow, what a
yeah,
good question for me to answer.
Mhm.
I mean, if we've done them wrong, I guess we can't be surprised that they've done that. I mean, kill them all. No, I don't think that's what we're about. But I guess probably ignore them, because or try and mend the situation or fix it with talks or something. But I think as long as they're willing to talk to us about settling something or a situation, then be good. And if they don't, I guess we'll have to either, I guess we'll have to figure that out when it happens, because I honestly don't know what we would do in that moment. It depends on the situation. That's it.
All right, perfect. Okay, so Cody, you are next. Your question. What do you have to say on the matter? Make sure you're muted. Okay, perfect.
Again?
What?
What was it again?
Your question specifically, what would you do if people left Canada and turned against us? What would you do?
I would probably just get add, if people joined, I'd just add a lot of them.
Is that all?
Yeah.
All right. I love the llama sounds randomly in the background.
I'm llamaist.
It's wonderful. Anyway, sounds like a constipated old person. Every time. Anyway, so moving on. Bear, you are next. So would you like me to repeat the question? It's in the politics chat tab. So it's basically just asking, how would you deal with people who leave Canada and enemy us, turn against us? What would be your response? Make sure you're unmuted. Bear? Cameron Bear. That's a cheese. Never mind. Bad joke. No one got it. Camembert. All right. I guess he's not here at the moment, and 58 decided to come back. So you're welcome to respond to the question.
All right. Well, I would do what I've done in the past. I'd first try and reasonably talk with the people, and then play the waiting game with them, and then if that fails, then could use force. But I'd like to try and talk it out with them, because that's always proven to have better results than being aggressive.
That's it?
Yep.
All right, perfect. Okay, you two, you are next.
Okay. So, quick little backstory. I kind of know what it's like to be in both positions, where you leave Canada and you hate them. But to be honest, it's actually quite easy to resolve the problem just through a little bit of communication. And also, if we do have a micronation split off from us and do not like us, it's actually very easy to ignore them. I mean, besides war, what harm could they do if you stay within your town borders and teleport around to other towns? So personally, they won't really have a really big impact on the entire server, because I'm pretty sure Jing will not ally a tiny micronation just to beat up Canada. That's not going to happen. But other than that, I would just say try and talk with them. If they are being resilient, then just ignore them. There's nothing you can do if they're being resilient, so just let them do their own thing. If they become a huge threat in the future, then maybe deal with it during war, but other than that, I'd just leave them be.
All right, perfect. Bear left, so maybe he's having computer problems. All right, Benjamin, you have the floor now. Would you like me to repeat, or are you good?
Yes, could you please repeat the question?
How would you deal with individuals who were part of Canada and leave and enemy us and such? So, yeah, that's basically that.
Well, I'm going to speak out a little bit of history here. There have been several nations over the server history that have sought to come and destroy those who wish for a peaceful existence like we do. Praxis, Maracaibo, GUI, CCCP, Soviet Union. Each of these people follow a pattern, and what you described was that pattern. And in each and every case, they have all collapsed internally, without exception. And you know what we did? We did very little. We simply talked with them. We told them, we don't want war with you. What do you want? And I'm taking this out of Dayzle's playbook, but we deny what they want most. That aggravates them. That gets them incredibly angry to the point where they get themselves banned. So if there was a person who attempts that, follow that same pattern. It is nearly 100% successful. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so next up is you, James, but we'll do the reads next unless you want to say that your mic's broken. So we'll have Bear message me. He will be replying via text, so he will go last. He had a computer issue. So David, you've got the floor now. It's all yours.
Okay. So Cody, to answer your question with some context, as Doc did very well. This situation has occurred many times. We can look at situations that have happened more recently, like with GUI, in which these towns wish to destroy and take us down. So, again, like many have said, we must ignore them. The question states if they turned against us. If a large group of people turned against us and sought to destroy us, I would just employ a policy of kindness, to not be rude to these people who have turned against us, but to be kind. And again, even though they wish to corrupt and destroy, we can forgive them, we can work things out with them, and they can always be welcomed back into the nation. That is all.
Perfect. All right. So next up is you, Logan. Would you like the question repeated, or are you good?
I was not here for the question, so can you repeat it?
All right. The question is, what would you do with people who were part of Canada and left, and people who enemy us, and so on and so forth?
So enemies of Canada, basically.
Well, yeah, it expands. I mean, it's quite broad. It would seem, or too specific. But I would say keep it broad. What would you do with people who were part of Canada and left and enemied us, and people who are enemies of us?
I would ask them for reasons why they enemied us and what we could do to fix the relationship with them and avoid going to war at all costs because that's the least thing that we want. That's the least that we want, and we don't want another incident like some other things that have happened in the past. I can't think of one right now, off the top of my head, but we don't want someone to leave us, them to enemy us, and then we go to war over really nothing. So what I would do is just sit them down and ask them what they want. So yeah.
Perfect. I know that you were think of an example, but I think there's one in particular you might want to add, like GUI. But yeah, that's sorry. Yeah, he's an interesting situation. So, with that being said, DJ left. So DJ's questions, like DJ gave me like a lot of questions. So we'll probably do 2 more, guys, and then we'll call that good. And then there's dialogue at the end, and I think that's fair. If anybody has any other things that they'd like to add, and then I will get through the other 2 people's questions now. So, but if you'd like to submit one, if you have one that you're dying, you can have it anonymous, so don't worry. And then I will probably pick among them. So, all right. Sharkfin writes. Let me get to. There's a lot of things going on now. Sharkfin writes, I feel that those who leave or come with the intent to harm should be negotiated with to come to terms. If they do not agree with peace, they can just get given the silent treatment. Of course, this is all influenced by the condition of their rebellion, of their rebellion. If they continue to persist, war would be a possibility, but war would only be the final solution if all else fail. Negotiations and the silent treatment are the best way to get around it. GUI situation is the best example of how to do it right. Okay, and then James, and if you guys tired of hearing me read, you can check these out in the politics chat. James says, I'm CanadianCrusader. Some of you know me as... Is this his intro? Am I having a stroke?
It's his intro.
Some may know me as James, even that's his intro. Okay. I read his intro, people will be like, what? All right, we'll get to his intro, which might end up being an outro. But everybody can get some final words after we get done the questions. So, James says, I'm CanadianCrusader. As some of you may know, that is the same thing I just read. I think. I'd rather prefer... This is important, Clucky. Do you have an answer to the question, or am I going crazy and didn't see it? It's okay if you didn't. Oh, make sure you're quiet. We're in the middle of the debate. We're just reading someone's answer. I will read James's intro then. So, because he would be the last one, because Bear hasn't gotten back to me with his response. Then we'll go through the last. Oh, he didn't answer. He's busy. Well, I imagine everybody's been kind of on the same page. So, James is like, let the enemies accept the enemies. All right. So James's intro, borderline outro, is I'm CanadianCrusader. Some of you know me as James, though, and even though I'd rather prefer you call me as Canadian, your preference is most important to me as Canadian citizen, and for that reason, I don't care what you call me. I joined the server back in late March and helped found Canada. Asked Clucky, he'll start talking. and that's in quotes or parentheses. A short while ago, after to try to help. Oh goodness gracious! All right, I'm having a stroke. A short while back, try to help and take out the U.S. This didn't work entirely, and Canada became a big nation itself. I was incredibly angry about this until I saw that Canada had culture. I'd be honest, I'm a bit of an extremist. Yet we need an extremist in office to know how to protect from other extremists. Trust me, I can tell you what the baddies want. One of the main ways we can fight off savage beasts is with culture, because I know for a fact there will someday be other extremists just as I am. When he comes, I'll be prepared. Right now we aren't. We'd better get precautions. So I mean, I don't know. That is his outro. Concocting, just readjusting myself. Okay, sorry, I've got a lot of people messaging me, and I'm going crazy. So okay, that is too many seizures, and people are gonna think I have like a reading disorder. So after all of this, every time. Okay, so last two questions, and then open floor for anybody who wants to talk about issues, and then that's it. So here we go. We're on the final bit. Okay, so next one is, how are you going to fight division? Personally, that's a good one. So I think the first one who goes next is Cody. So Cody, do you have anything you'd like to say on how to fight division?
No.
All right. Welcome to that. Okay then. 58. How would you fight division?
I would fight division by seeing why people want to divide from us, and see what we could do to have a compromise. Thank you.
Perfect. Short and sweet. I mean, I use more words when you can use less.
Yeah.
All right. 58. There you go. Okay. Now next up we have you two. So you two, how would you fight division?
To be honest, the main reasons why division happened are because of coming to an agreement, but ultimately the agreement does not stand. Kind of like how in the American Civil War, they agreed on slavery in the South and non-slavery in the North and whatnot, but eventually that broke down because of tensions rising. However, in the case of Minecraft, we're not going to have that most likely. And I believe the easiest way to prevent division is just to understand the other person's perspective and side of things. So if we can't do that, then we're never going to get anywhere. That's all I have.
All right. Benjamin, you next. If you'd like me to repeat
There's
the
the
question.
button. All right. Well, I've taught, and Luke will attest that I've said this many times. You cannot solve a problem until you identify and understand why it is occurring. What that requires is that you sit down and listen.
Sorry. I'm going to just chime in when you break up so that way people actually hear what you say. So I would kind of start over a bit. Sorry.
No, it's fine. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. And I've taught Luke 883 this. I've taught a couple other people this while on this server. You cannot solve a problem until you identify what it is and why it is occurring. That's engineering. That's leadership. My first action to be solve division, sit down, get all the parties in the same room, same voice chat, whatever. Sit them down, have them talk to each other. Let me listen in and just understand where they're all coming from. A lot of the time, talking the same language but using different terms. Or talking the same ideas but using different terms. Second, it's simple. Just facilitate discussion. I've been doing that in United Coalition, where me and David are both getting pretty good at that. And finally, start working out a compromise solution. Let people know that they have common ground, that they both are good at Canada. They just have different ideas how to do it. That's all I got.
All right. Perfect. Okay. Next up would be David. So how would you fight division?
Okay. So, this is a great question. So, I will fight division and try and prevent it by creating open discussions and letting people speak their minds, as I always have. It is a campaign promise of mine. As leader, I will always be open to hear all Canadians. I will always fight for the people of Canada. I believe the challenges we face require us to look forward, not backwards. And through my experience, I understand where we need to take the country. So, like Doc said, I've had experience using diplomacy and working with others with very different beliefs to try and come to a common ground and go from there. Um, like many have said, we cannot fight division and come to a solution until we find out what the problem is. And so I will be dedicated to finding the problem and solving it. Thank you.
All right. Logan, you are next.
Okay. I would fight division by about what everyone said. I would ask them why they are dividing themselves from the others, and then there are some things like I would join all like the political parties chats to monitor what they're doing, just to make sure that nothing happens where they're not even like I can look at what they're saying and if they want to respond to anything. Yeah. I had a brain fart, but I have nothing to say.
No worries. So is that all you'd like to add?
Yeah.
All right. Okay then. Next up is Lucas. So how would you fight division, Lucas?
Well, I've learned a lot about how this nation deals with division in the past week. Unlike some other candidates, I would handle division much differently, and I would not, I don't know, or try and sabotage what they are trying to build, or spy on what they are trying to build, and I would talk to them, and what other candidates have proposed did not happen with me in while I was away from Canada. I'd never. I think the only person that actually reached out to me was Dayzle and Brendan. No one else in office that is currently in office really talked to me about coming back. So there's that. So I guess I will say is try and that, and that's it.
All right. Okay. That brings up an important point, though. Like we can have a discussion afterwards on that. I think like who should be talking to people. So maybe afterwards. Okay. So next up is Cody. Would you have anything you'd like to add?
For what?
On division.
Well,
Did we already ask you? Was Cody first? No, Cody, you're right. Okay. Yep.
yeah, you did ask me, but now I'm thinking about it that I would, I have nothing to say. I don't know what to say.
That's all right. You good?
Yeah.
All right. So then, let's try to not have a seizure this time. Okay, so or stroke is probably a better word for it. Okay, Sharkfin says to reunite. Oh boy, I edited it. Okay. Sharkfin says to reunite Canada, those divided need to see the other person's argument. People need to be heard, and they need to know that they are being heard. Some people have said there are divisions yet that haven't yet been found, and a big voice chat together as a nation is an excellent suggestion, as you can't fix something if you don't know the cause. We need to have an open discussion with political parties, one that doesn't end or begin with the other side saying to the other, "I hate you," or "You shouldn't exist." We need a fat chat, a chin wag, if you will. Canadians just need to talk to one another. Didn't know if you were adding fun words in there just to see if I. Joke's on you, I mess up with every word. And then James says, division can be fought by simply making sure that we don't want to leave. I wouldn't say give in to any terrorist demands, but make sure any misconjured thought they have is adjusted to assure them that we're the best simply because we are. I'm not talking censorship, just assure them there's clearly a better way than secession. All right, perfect. Okay, and last question, and that is, let me see here. And the last question is particularly people. Let's talk to people. The government discussed. Oh god, I forgot to write down. Now I'm having a stroke again. I'm getting a headache too. This is the last question though, and I think at this rate, I probably should just call it good because I can't even find it, and clearly it's not that important. I thought it was gonna be a good one. Stroke for Hoyana. Stroke for my life. Alrighty. That probably then about wraps it up, I guess, at this rate. There can just be a dialogue. Everybody can talk to one another about different things. If you have something you'd like to bring up or anything at this point, so you can unmute yourselves if you'd like. If you'd like to leave, you can. You don't have to stick around. There was a oh, okay. There is a question actually, and it's by someone who all right, yeah. You do want to be anonymous? Okay, it's anonymous. The question is, what should we do if someone is accused of destroying or stealing someone's stuff? There you go. So, that starts with you two. So, you two, how would you like to go about that? Would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay. The question is, what should we do if someone is accused of destroying or stealing someone's stuff?
Well, to be honest, that should.
Alrighty. Hey, Benjamin, your floor.
But if you invite someone into your town and they
So, can
do
you repeat the
that,
question real quick?
and they're not just a
Yes,
one-dayer,
the
then
question is,
I would say obviously
what
confront them
should we
about
do if
that. And
someone
if they're
is
being
accused of
resilient,
destroying or stealing someone's
but
stuff?
they're still in a Canadian town.
And I will preface that by saying, like, I wonder if, like, there's reference of consequences, which you two covered without needing to preface. But,
Well, we have to
what did you guys
understand
say?
that there are multiple levels of consequence on the server. The person could go to the server admin saying,
And everything, we shouldn't have that occurring in the first place. But then again, know about Tally, that's very understandable.
Alrighty. Hey, Benjamin, your floor.
"No town." That is obviously a very bad idea. It is a nuclear option, which I prefer not to go there. And Mavirgo actually brings up a good point. What? Well, the Supreme Court deals with matters of the Constitution. But we in Canada have a tradition of innocent until proven guilty. And I believe that would be our course of action. That the accuser needs to bring forward evidence saying, hey, this happened. It is, honestly, it should be, if it's a town level, it should be on the town level. If it's a national level, it's on the national level. It is kind of, we have to feel our way through it because not every situation is the same.
All right. Okay. Then David, floor is yours.
Okay. Well, someone brought up a good point. I think that was Mavirgo. He just said that the Supreme Court should solve this issue. I would actually disagree with that. That maybe this should be a Hoyana issue. Frankly, because the Supreme Court is more meant to deal with amendments or laws and to decide whether they are constitutional or not. But also, again, accusations have no weight until there is evidence, and evidence, well, sorry. Like I said, accusations have no weight until there is evidence, and like Doc said, people are innocent until proven guilty. From there, the necessary course of action could be dealt in multiple ways. If it's a Hoyena issue, I would hope that he would reach out to the chiefs and maybe even the people to what he should do. But then at the same time, stealing is also and destroying things is not allowed on the server. So it could also be dealt with by server mods. So it all depends on the situation, and those are really the two courses of action that I would go with. So that's it. Thank you.
All right. Next up would be Logan. So, would you like me to repeat the question? You're good.
I'm good. So what I would do is, if you do not like that they did steal or did whatever they did, I would get a mod. Just get a mod so they can settle if they actually did it or not. And if they did, I would ask them why they did it and give them a way they could make up for doing it. Or if you really want to, just kick them out of your town and don't let them back in. That's the courses of action that I would do.
All right. Perfect. Okay. Next up would be Lucas. So,
I think it would be the issue, or it'd be between those players involved, and that we should stay out of it, and let the server staff deal with it. And then afterwards, once the truth is revealed, then we make judgment and see what we can do and see if is there any punishment to be applied. That's it, pretty much.
all right. Perfect. Okay, then. So the next one up would be Cody. Would you like to add anything or no?
I'm going to agree with what Logan said about it.
Okay. Perfect. All right, and 58, you're last, and then you get to read the last two comments, and you guys are free.
Well, considering I've dealt with this issue before on a larger scale, what I did is I first had a mod come on, check, and then I went and after I knew that who the person was that did it, I then continued to confront the person in an open chat where everybody could see it, so nothing could be turned around. You just talk to them. And then if you can't get them to get it back, there's really nothing that you can do because mods can't do anything for them stealing. So.
All right. And for the reading responses, let me see if I can find them, because
I'm tired 2 days.
yeah, nice to meet you, Tired. I'm Dayzle. That's how tired I'm making these horrible, horrible jokes. Goodness.
Hey,
Okay, everyone just leaves. Okay, CanadianCrusader, because that's what Canadian wants to be called. Goes by says bring them to court with as much evidence as possible. We might get a mod on as well. Really, that's short and sweet. There you go. Perfect. Sharkfin says talk to them, and if no agreement comes to it, oh good lord, talk to them, and if no agreement is come to, it can be taken to court if it's a domestic affair. Depending on the value of the item stolen, the admin could be talked to, or something else could be agreed upon. County's designed to protect against this, but it can still happen to new players. Alrighty, there you go. That's done. You're all good. Okay, unmute yourselves. If anybody wants to talk about any issues with one another, scream at one another, you're wrong. This is right. This is the time to do it. So open floor. Any issues anybody wants to bring forward?
You're wrong.
All right. One thing I did want to discuss, which Lucas brought up, but if you got something, David, you can.
No, you go.
All right. Particularly about who reaches out to people. We've had it so that way the chiefs don't really deal with foreign issues, and there's some like weird area between foreign people who are part of a nation leave and communicating with them as they exist as a foreign entity now, can like how to treat those issues. Because if we don't want people like actually like chiefs and like we have someone speaking on behalf of
Yes,
Canada,
who's
that could be
here?
dangerous. Too many people. If we have someone speaking on behalf of the nation who are not an elected position, that can be sometimes bad, and we had an issue with that at certain points. So there should be like a discussion on who should be talking, because I think like it might be for some people that might be exactly what needs to happen. Like, don't let anyone else talk to them, but maybe for other people, maybe they need multiple people to talk to them. And so maybe there's a discussion that could be had if someone's part of Canada and leaves, and then everybody can talk to them, versus someone who's not part of Canada at all, and then having the leader, the Hoyana, speak on behalf of the nation, and be careful not letting other people do that. I do know there's been situations. So anyway, floor is yours, guys.
I was gonna touch on this actually, and I was gonna say that at the time, Lucas, of you leaving, it was Brendan's job to deal with foreign affairs, not the chiefs, which is what I was. And yet I still actually kind of did go against that, and I did reach out to you, and I let you know that you were welcome back anytime, but it turns out you were quite rude, and you kind of pushed me away, so I would like that to be noted.
How late am I?
And also, this question would have
We just finished.
that
But anyway,
question of how would you fight division kind of goes with the question, what if people for Canada turned against us and left? So that's just something I wanted to.
I think another discussion though could be had is when they come back, how do we then interact with them? Do we get spicy? Do we? How do we? What do we do?
Spicy.
Because well, no, it's like because all right, here's a good situation. We have you two back. We have Lucas back. Both left for different reasons, and we've had people come back. Like we have Killer, who's also listening in, who came back, and things have just settled. There are some people like Ian who come and go. That there was some weird issues, but just whatever. And like, how do you deal with it? Because at the end of the day, I have no problem with people coming back. It's just going to take people like it's going to take the government being okay with it, and then the community being okay with it, and that's something that like you have to take with a grain of salt, because you're going to have certain people who behave a certain way no matter what. And that can be just community members, or that can be the government, and we have to figure out like how are we going to like treat people? Like, is there a uniform way that we should be treating people? Should it be a context specific situation, so you treat people differently because they did something at a certain degree, like certain degree of badness, but if they come back, like, are you going to keep that over their head? Like, how are we going to do that? Because is it going to make a healthier community if we keep holding things over people's heads? So
what's the question?
At this point, we're just at an open dialogue. So.
Oh, okay.
So speaking of dialogues, I know you have a million questions, DJ Minor. So.
Oh, let me put my headphones in. I got my final votes now.
Okay, so the memes are so good.
I have my list.
So thankful you brought that up because it's good.
I laminated it. It's official.
I love it. You did I'll tell you what, DJ, you are going to impact the culture of Canada because you have made such an organic and good meme. It's amazing.
I'm gonna end the recording of the debate.
Okay, that's good. Yep.